Okay, I came the farthest end. And so, we just are not for the wars. Absolutely. That goes without saying. We're not for the military's use of manned bombings. You know, manned aircraft dropping bombs on innocent people. We feel that the CIA using this program, you know, the CIA used to operate covertly. They used to try at least to hide their crimes. Now they are an overt paramilitary organization, and they are actually making themselves judge, jury, and executioner. And we know that our government has admitted, if our government has admitted the fact that 700 innocent people have been killed in Pakistan with the drone bombings, to 5, like Josh says, suspected Al-Qaeda, then we know if they say 700, it must be much more, right? If they admit to 700, it must be much more. Now, the wonderful thing about this protest where we have, you know, I don't know how many people are here, but the wonderful thing about it is I've gotten so many messages from Pakistan. And they've told me, tell everybody there, thank you. We couldn't imagine that any Americans cared about us. And it gives us so much hope that you will be out there in front of the CIA. And so tell everybody, thank you for doing this. Thank you for caring about us. Now, the biggest opposition to this protest I got were people telling me, but Cindy, the drone bombings minimize the loss of American life. Aren't you happy about that? And I said, well, first of all, it doesn't minimize the loss of American life. It eliminates the loss of American life. How can somebody sitting in Creech Air Force Base, you know, playing basically a computer game, dropping bombs on innocent people, have any risk? But we know that they're already having mental problems about doing this, which I think is a good sign. Yeah. It's a good sign that they're actually being conflicted about what they're doing. Now, to me, what could be more cowardly? What could be more immoral than these people here directing a program that is not eliminating the war on terror, it's increasing the war on terror. And we know the CIA is not here to keep us safe. They're here to destabilize the world. They're here to make the world safe, not for democracy, but for the corporations and for whatever their agendas are. They've been doing it since they were an organization. And we came here yesterday to you know, recon this with some CIA operatives. Oh, they call themselves the CIA police force. And a Fairfax County cop. And they said, well, we're going to have a crime scene tape, so you guys can't go, you know, over there into the woods. I said, well, how appropriate, since that's the scene of a crime. You know? It's one of the most evil institutions in the world. And now the government of Pakistan will denounce the drone bombings when the government of Pakistan is actually feeding us intelligence and actually launching some of the drones from an Air Force base in Pakistan, Shamsi Air Force Base. And we have some people from Answer here. Our friend Sarah, she was crossing the street and a lady welcomed her to McLean. She said, I hope they drop an effing bomb on your head. Except she didn't say effing. She doesn't have class like me. And then she said, mind your own business, you bitch. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't who our government is bombing our business? And shouldn't everybody make it our business? CIA. Expose them. We know that it was 8 CIA operatives or 8 contractors that were just assassinated. And so everybody, of course, all of the talking heads and the government officials and Leon Panetta and Barack Obama go on and say, those were brave American patriots, and we have to avenge their deaths. And I say, no, it was a group of assassins that were just assassinated. And they were actually in revenge for a drone bombing death. So when, in a Christian, so-called Christian nation, when does the cycle of violence end? A drone bombing, and then the people who are being bombed react, understandably. And then we react, and then they react, and we react, and they react. And what did Gandhi say? An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Well, this is the step to opening the eyes of people in this country. That just because someone says they're the CIA, it doesn't make them a brave patriot. Now, I'm not saying that there's not good people in there, but just because it's the CIA, well, you guys can say it. Just because I said I'm not saying it, you guys can infer.
Come on.
So, again, I just really want to thank you for being here. And I asked the CIA agents, I said, what is our expectation of having a Hellfire missile dropped on us today? And they said none, as long as the police are here. So as long as the police are here, as long as the police are here, we're safe. Yeah.
Well, good afternoon. It's a privilege to be here with all of you and to have been brought together by so much spirit from the DC organizers and Cindy's very fine outreach to so many people. I'm here as part of the Witness Against Torture Fast, and it's been quite remarkable. I suppose one of the mantras, in a sense, that has been guiding us of late is to think of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's words that we should be people with tough minds and tender hearts. And so much of the mentoring, the thinking that's gone on here today has come from tough minds, and I'm grateful for that. One of the benefits of our community of Witness Against Torture Fasters is that more people come in. A downside of that is that as we all sleep on the floor at St. Stephen's Church, there's kind of a cacophony of snoring. And so I found myself a bit fitful last night, and our good friend, Father Bill Pickard, said try to think of it as an orchestra, so I'll try that again tonight. But while I was lying awake trying to fall back asleep listening to the snoring, I thought of a young boy. He's 17 years old. He lives in Mir Ari in North Waziristan, and he told an AP reporter, this 17-year-old young man, Isra Khan Dawar, that he lies awake at night and the drone sounds are getting closer. And they're louder. And he knows that this means that maybe he or someone in his household is a target. And he's bracing himself to be hit by a Hellfire missile or a 500-pound bomb fired by a drone. When I was in Pakistan in May, a very brave man walked a long distance and took 2 buses to come and talk with us in Rawalpindi. It wouldn't have been safe for us to hear him, in a sense, in an out front way because he was in danger for talking to Westerners. He was a survivor of a drone attack. I was so chilled reading the Time magazine article by Jane Meyer, a good New Yorker magazine article, one we should all read, I guess. But she mentioned that the people that are CIA analysts have a word for someone like our friend who survived a drone attack, who ran when the drone attacked. They call them squirters. And this brave man told us that 2 people had come into his village. They went to the home of the elders. They were strangers. But the time-honored custom of the village of Khaisor, a small village, a remote village, there's not even a road leading up to it. The time-honored custom is that when a stranger knocks on your door, no matter who they are, you feed them. You can't tell them go to the Hotel 6 or the 7-Eleven. And so they were fed and given beverage, and they were long gone. When at 4:30 in the morning, a drone attack hit that very home, killed 14 people. 2 of the village elders were killed. Children were dismembered and maimed. And I asked our friend, what do you do in a village with no road and no emergency medical technicians? And I was wearing a long scarf, and he said, just, Madame, you see, we take the tabuta and we wrap it as tight we can. And I imagine my long white scarf being blood-stained scarlet in seconds. And we tried to save the people. Well, this kind of story goes on and on and on. And the CIA is endeavoring with great sophistication, using people with tremendous education, enormous resources, to gather intelligence. Now, they were able to spot Baitullah Masood, a Taliban leader whom they'd been chasing for a long time, on a rooftop. Their screens showed him on an IV. His father-in-law and mother-in-law were medics. And as they were trying to save his life, I suppose, that's when the CIA targeted him, and they finally, I suppose, in their understanding, got the bad guy. Now, we should understand that that was their 15th attempt. In the 14 previous attempts, the people they got weren't the anticipated target. There were other people, and if they were in homes, they had children and family and relatives. We should also understand that the CIA agents, and I ask us please, in our tender hearts, remember the 9 families and friends and communities whose arms will ache lovingly for loved ones who will never return. Let us remember they were human beings. Those 9 CIA agents who were killed by Dr. Balawi, also a human being, a Jordanian man who had seen what happened in Gaza. And I was there during Operation Cast Lead. And yes, the bombs exploded once every 11 minutes. And yes, you could talk with people that were hit with white phosphorus. 1,400 lives lost. And we were complicit. But let me go back to the Jordanian doctor, al-Balawi. He apparently was feeding information to the man who replaced Baitullah Masood and to the CIA agents. Now, the man who replaced Baitullah Masood, Hakmullah Masood, was by reputation somebody who was far more dangerous, somebody who was unpredictable, somebody who was very media savvy. And the information that was fed to the CIA agents gave the CIA agents names of so-called bad guys who were actually rivals of Baitullah and Hakmullah Masood. So they used the CIA's drone bombings to pick off, to eliminate either people regarded as expendables or higher-level people that were their own rivals. Now, as we examine this story, why are we being told that this program is a success?
Yes.
What is successful is your security being enhanced as people all over the world increasingly regard us as a fearsome, menacing force.
No.
The CIA wants to know who are the bad guys. On this commemoration of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, how blessed we are. He asked the same question, but he really meant it. He wanted to know, who are our adversaries? What is their humanity like? How do they feel about us? He really wanted people to try to understand those who were designated at that time, the Viet Cong, as the bad guys, as people who are human beings with hopes and fears and dreams and children and families and lives. The same as us. Everybody in, nobody out. And so we have the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King available to be our chosen guide. Not to be guided by fear, never to be guided by hatred, to foster amongst ourselves those tough minds, those tender hearts, looking forward to the time when no 17-year-old will shiver in his bed, hearing that he'll be bombed in his sleep. Thank you.
Yeah.